Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're getting into something that's quietly killing solar systems, and it's probably not what you think. We're going to talk about why just adding up the watts on your devices is, frankly, one of the biggest mistakes you can make when you're sizing a system.
Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. Most solar systems don't fail because they are undersized in watts. I mean, that flies in the face of pretty much everything we're taught, right? So if it's not the total wattage, what in the world is causing these mysterious failures?
Exactly. What is this silent killer? What's this hidden gremlin that can take a system that looks absolutely perfect on paper and just bring it to its knees? Well, that's the mystery we are going to solve right now.
All right, let's kick things off with a story. A scenario that might hit a little too close to home for some of you. It's that classic situation where all the numbers, all the math looks totally fine, but reality is telling you a very, very different story. So picture this. You've done all your homework, your loads add up to, let's say, 1,800 watts, and you're running them on a beefy 3,000-watt inverter. I mean, you should have tons of headroom, right? But your inverter is hot enough to cook on, the fans are screaming their heads off, or even worse, it just keeps tripping. The math says you're safe, but the hardware is practically shouting that it's under some serious, serious stress. What gives?
Okay, so the reason for this complete disconnect between the math and reality? It all comes down to the kind of stuff we're plugging in these days. You know, that beautiful, smooth, clean power we imagine flowing through our wires? Yeah, that's pretty much a fantasy in most modern homes. It's time to meet the real culprit.
You see, in a perfect world, every single device would just gently sip power from your inverter in this perfect, clean sine wave. Kind of like breathing in and out, nice and smooth. But that is not how modern electronics work, not at all. The reality is, they take these quick, sharp, violent gulps of current. And these pulses, they completely distort that clean waveform, creating what's essentially electrical chaos. We call these non-linear loads. And here's the crazy part. These non-linear loads, they're everywhere. We're not talking about some weird industrial machinery here. We're talking about the everyday stuff you're using right now. Your laptop charger, those LED light bulbs, your TV, your router, even that fancy new induction cooktop. Every single one of them is dumping this distortion back into your system.
So there's actually a technical term for all this electrical noise and messiness. It's called Total Harmonic Distortion, or THD for short. The easiest way to think about it is like a rating for how dirty your electrical current has become. A really low THD? That's clean, happy power. A high THD? Whoa, that means your system is just chock full of these chaotic, damaging energy pulses. Okay, so we've got this electrical noise. Big deal, right? Well, how does that noise actually translate into physical damage, like a dangerously hot inverter? It all comes down to some hidden math that your simple watt meter isn't telling you about. And this is where we're going to connect the dots between that distortion and all that heat.
All right, let's just walk through this step by step. So, step 1, your device is doing its job, using 100 watts of what we call real power. Step 2, but since it's a non-linear load, it's also creating all those harmonics we just talked about. Now here's the kicker. Step 3, those harmonics actually inflate the total current, what we call the RMS current. You can think of RMS as the true heating effect of the electricity. It's now way higher than the watts alone would suggest. So, step 4, what does all this extra ghost current do? Absolutely nothing useful. It just becomes wasted heat, cooking your wires in your inverter.
And this chart right here just illustrates that disconnect perfectly. So let's say your loads are consuming 2,400 watts of real power. You're looking at your meter thinking, sweet, I've got plenty of room on my 3,000-watt inverter. But because of all those nasty harmonics, the apparent power, that's the total load the inverter actually feels and has to deal with, measured in VA, is a full 3,000 VA. Your inverter is completely maxed out, even though the watt meter is telling you you've got 600 watts to spare. It's wild.
And that is the absolute key takeaway here. Your inverter does not care about watts. It has to handle the total apparent power, the VA. Harmonics are what create that gap between watts and VA. And that entire gap is just pure, damaging stress on all your components. So this hidden stress, it's not just some theoretical problem on a whiteboard. Nope. It is a full-on assault on the most critical, most expensive parts of your entire solar system. Let's break down exactly how this damage works its way through your whole setup.
First up, target number 1, the heart of your system, the inverter.
It's taking the full force of that bloated RMS current, which is why it's overheating. It's why it keeps having those annoying nuisance trips, even when you're technically way under the watt limit. And those harmonics, they also absolutely destroy your power factor. That's the ratio of useful power to total power. So what does that mean? It means your expensive 3000 VA inverter might only be able to safely deliver 2400 watts of actual usable power.
Next up, the arteries of your system, the cables. And listen, this is so important. Cables don't fail because of watts, they fail from heat, and that heat is generated by RMS current. Harmonics can crank that current way beyond what the cable is safely rated for, slowly, silently cooking the insulation from the inside out. It's this quiet degradation that can eventually lead to a total, catastrophic failure.
And hey, don't think for a second the DC side of your system is safe from all this. The inverter struggle on the AC side translates directly into a choppy, pulse demand on your batteries. We're talking higher peak discharge currents, which puts a ton of stress on the battery management system, the BMS, and it creates this nasty thing called ripple current that actively degrades your battery cells, dramatically shortening their very expensive lifespan.
Okay, so now that we know who the enemy is, how do we actually fight back? Well, it means we have to make a fundamental change in how we think about designing these systems. We have to move past just counting watts and start designing for the messy, noisy reality of the modern world.
This right here is the new golden rule. Seriously, this is non-negotiable if you want a system that's reliable and is going to last. You have to stop sizing your system based only on the watt rating of your appliances. You must assume that your system will be powering these nasty harmonic-creating loads, because, let's be real, in any modern home, it absolutely will be.
So, from now on, your design process needs to look more like this checklist. You've got to consider the potential for THD from all your loads. You have to be realistic and derate your inverter's capacity to account for that power factor reduction we talked about. And you absolutely have to size your components, especially your cables, to handle the real RMS current, not just the number you get from adding up watts.
And look, if there's only one thing you remember from all of this, let it be this right here. Watts tell you what work the load is doing. Harmonics tell you what kind of abuse your system has to survive to get that work done. It is literally the difference between performance and survival.
So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Think about it. Have you ever seen an inverter trip or heard about one tripping when the total wattage was supposedly well within its limits? Bet you have. And now you know, the reason wasn't missing at all. It was just hidden in the harmonics. Thanks for tuning in.